When I was 4 years old, my grandad, who had already died by then, gave me a message to give to my nan. He spoke as naturally to me as I'm speaking to you now. And the information that he gave me, I couldn't possibly have known. So much so, when I passed it on to my nan, she just stood agog. Now, I couldn't know it at the time, but that moment was going to change the direction of my life, or inform the direction of my life. And as I got older, it left me with a question that I'm still exploring after 30 years now of professional mediumship. What is consciousness? Because if experiences like mine are real, and they are because millions of people report them around the world, then consciousness isn't at all quite what it seems. In fact, we don't know what consciousness is, and science can't tell us what consciousness is either. And what's fascinating about that is that people within the scientific community are asking themselves the same question too. I think one of the most intriguing ideas is called the Orchestrated Objective Reduction Theory, or Orch-OR. This theory has been developed by physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anaesthetist Stuart Hameroff. Together, they've put together a theory that suggests that brain cells, called microtubules, may be involved with the quantum processes of consciousness. Now, it's still a hypothesis, and other people in the scientific community are not in line with this theory just yet, with some out and outright probably disagreeing with it, I should think. But here's the fascinating part. This theory asks whether the brain might be a receiver and express consciousness, not create consciousness. So think about your phone for a minute. It doesn't create the internet, it simply connects to something that already exists, and then you're aware that it's there. Could our brains be doing something very similar? Science does already tell us something extraordinary that is accepted or proven, and that's that energy isn't created, nor is it destroyed, it just transforms. The law of conservation. Now, I'm not saying this proves an afterlife, because it doesn't, but it does make me wonder. If consciousness has been left out of this equation, and the physical body processes energy, which is constantly changing form, could consciousness be more fundamental to reality than we currently understand? Could consciousness also transform? Never actually cease? I mean, in my personal experience, that's what I have experienced in my life. Now, I've been banging my drum about this for 30 years. I think it's one of the most important questions humanity can ask itself. Because if consciousness isn't confined to the brain, then suffering too starts to look very different. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not belittling suffering at all. Grief still exists. Loss is very real, and the effects on our body are serious. But perhaps death isn't the end of a relationship. In fact, I know it isn't, based on what my grandfather did for my grandmother when I was only 4 years old, via me, the conduit, the transmitter, the receiver of that information. And then can that help people with their suffering? I have experienced that it does. And maybe if we don't believe that love is the end, those loving bonds that we share go on too, well, this has huge implications in helping us to journey through this lifetime when it gets really tough. Over the years, I've worked with thousands of bereaved families, all open to exploring consciousness beyond this one lifetime. I've come to believe that curiosity like that, open-mindedness, is incredibly powerful in the healing journey. I mean, we don't need to pretend we've got all the answers, because we don't, but we should remain open to asking better questions. Because sometimes a simple question, curiosity, and then an experience that goes beyond understanding can have the power to change a complete lifetime. It's certainly changed mine, and I wouldn't be without this knowledge. But again, I'm not a guru. I don't have all the answers. What do you think?